the general run of testimony today, Lester?
Well, Jeremy, from today's hearings, mostly civil society and various other agricultural unions and institutions saying that they agree with the high-level panel which was commissioned by Parliament not too long ago, headed by former President Kgalema Motlanthe, that there is no need to change Section 25 of the Constitution, saying that there was just too little political will or not a concrete land reform policy for a government to work on, and that 24 years after the advent of democracy in South Africa, the current government is now playing catch-up. But they're all in agreement that the issue of land reform is key to South Africa's present as well as its future, saying that the issues regarding dignity, the issues of redress following centuries of colonialism as well as apartheid really need to be addressed. It's just the modalities and the mechanisms that need to be ironed out over the next few months and years as South Africa continues with this very important discussion of land reform.
All well and good, but if organizations like Grain SA offered any alternative mechanisms to expropriation without compensation?
No real concrete proposals on the table, but really casting warnings about what could happen if a land expropriation without compensation policy is steamrolled through this committee process and obviously through Parliament and then off to the Constitutional Court. They're saying that, Grain SA is saying that they're predicting that this year there is a more than 50% likelihood of a drought in the grain production areas of South Africa, and that any long-term or medium to long-term plan of land expropriation without compensation could mean that we could be suffering from grain and agricultural production decreases because of that predicted drought. The representatives from agribusiness, who represent not necessarily farmers but downstream businesses dealing in the agrarian sector, they're saying that they're really concerned of what this could mean for particularly black farmers. There's been an argument put on the table that the current land reform policy, in which government gives 30 to 40-year long leases for black emerging farmers, is not enough to go to a bank and use that as collateral. So they're saying that currently they're seeing plenty of emerging black farmers coming to them, saying that they just can't cope in this current climate, in terms of weather climate, to produce the sufficient crops, as well as the economic climate, trying to get financial resources to boost their business. So a lot of concern regarding the economy being put at the table at the moment. There's also been some inputs from academics, most notably from UCT, also saying that while a land reform policy is urgent to redress the inequalities of the past, that government still needs to look at the modalities, and that according to them, a land expropriation without compensation phase would be unnecessary, especially since the current constitution in its current state allows that, but also what this could mean long term for South Africa's economy, where it could scare off future investment to the country.
I can't help but wonder how much all of this process is simply expedient window dressing, given that a decision has already been made.
That's right. The ANC, with its 62% majority in Parliament, they've, through President Cyril Ramaphosa, in that 10 p.m. address to the nation as ANC president, already stating the ANC's aims, that it would be looking at changing the constitution. The joint chairpersons of this committee has always said this is not a referendum. It's not about the number of submissions made and who is for or against. It's about the quality of the argument, and there's been some really sober argument and considered argument being put forward throughout the public hearing process, where this committee has been to all four corners of the country, but also today and expected throughout the week, where we have civil society institutions, those who represent the interests of not only the broader farming community, but also particularly black farmers, real considered opinion being given. And one could argue that this is all a sense of window dressing if the ANC has already indicated it would want to amend the constitution. But when exactly would that happen, Jeremy? It's just a few more weeks and months left before Parliament rises for this year. We're expecting a general election somewhere between March and May in 2019. It's all a case of when exactly does the ANC decide to act on its decision that it will be amending the constitution, whether it be with the EFF's help to get over the two-thirds threshold, or whether it would be pushing for a two-thirds majority in next year's election to do it by himself then.
Lester Kivitt in Cape Town, thank you. Now, prominent ANC